The number one reason most people come into a 4-wheel parts store is they would like a larger tire option. The best way to do that is with a coilover. Now this particular coilover is set up from 1 to 3.5 inches of lift. The neat thing about a coilover is its adjustability. Because we can move it from 1 to 3.5 inches of lift, that means you can run as small as a 33 and all the way up to a 37. So let's talk a little bit about what's inside the coilover. So this is an aluminum bodied coilover. Up inside here is nitrogen, then there's an internal floating piston, below that is oil. And that's what the piston that dampers your suspension is valved inside of. And down here is a 17-4 stainless rod. We hard chrome the outside to reduce wear and tear on the shafts, which is important because we want long life out of the shock. So let's talk a little bit about this barrel-shaped spring. This barrel-shaped spring is going to add a little more wheel travel and it's going to give you more stability off-road. All the shocks from 4WP Factory are vehicle-specific tuned. What does that really mean? Well, let's go in the old days. All of the shocks used to have one valving, and that meant that whatever you put it on, if it was Super Duty or a Suzuki Samurai, it was going to have the same ride quality. That's not true anymore. Now we take the vehicles out and we test them and we make sure that they're going to ride perfectly on the pavement as they are in the dirt. The last thing I want to talk about is the spherical rod end at the bottom. This will reduce flex by removing the rubber bushing. Now, the coilover comes packaged as a 3-inch lift, but if you want 3.5, you can adjust this over, but you're gonna need an upper control arm. So the upper control arms, they have two functions. One of them is alignment, the other is high angle. So this has a high angle ball joint in it, and as this thing cycles through the suspension, we wanna make sure that you're not gonna bind anything and ruin any parts. We use urethane over here to keep your suspension under braking really stiff and have a nice compliant ride. So as you lift your vehicle, the tires are going to camber in and you're not going to like that look. So in order to get into the factory geometry, we need to stretch the arm out and change the angles of it so that you can hit those factory alignment specs. If you'd like to know more about those parts, head over to 4wheelparts.com/Bronco HQ.